Rosa Audiobooks presents Until the Dawn by Elizabeth Camden, narrated by Stina Nielsen.
Chapter 1. The Hudson River Valley, Summer, 1898. "That's where the body was found, floating face down in the river," an ominous voice intoned. "He was stone cold dead." Sophie sank behind the blackberry brambles to avoid being seen by the people ambling down the old pier toward the shore. She had hoped to take advantage of the river's low tide to gather oysters, but had paused as a tour guide led a group of sightseers closer to the infamous spot in the river. The village needed the income from the tourists, and it would be best not to have the wild splendor of the spot spoiled by the sight of a local girl gathering oysters. She scooted a little higher up the hillside to remain hidden behind the bushes. Every morning, steamboats left the bustling city of New York, only 40 miles downriver, but a world away from the primeval splendor of this isolated inlet in the Hudson River Valley. The steamboats always stopped so the tourists could admire the famous vista looming just behind Sophie, where one of the oldest mansions in America looked like a medieval fortress perched on the edge of the harsh granite cliff. Dating all the way back to 1635, when Dutch settlers arrived in North America, the gloomy site of the Vandermark mansion had dominated this windswept cliff for centuries. Built of rough-hewn stone with steeple gables and rambling wings, it had the grandeur of a Renaissance painting. "There wasn't a scratch on him," the tour guide continued. "Karl Vandermark was in the prime of life, and no one could explain what caused his death. Was it murder? Suicide? The Vandermark curse? Karl Vandermark was one of the richest men in America, and beloved by everyone in the village. It's been 60 years since his body was found on this very spot. But there are still no answers." Sophie sighed in resignation. Why was everyone still fascinated by the Vandermark death so long ago? Perhaps it had something to do with the foreboding appearance of the Vandermarks' mansion, which had been made famous by painters and photographers who couldn't resist the Gothic appeal of the isolated estate on the edge of a cliff. Named Dierenpark after the old Dutch word for paradise, the mansion was a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?